Chances are you are using a Broadcom product at this exact second, even if you've never heard their name. Companies like Apple, Google, and Meta rely on this invisible architecture to function. Broadcom provides the wireless connectivity components in your phone and the networking switches and the servers that load your web pages. That silent ubiquity has pushed Broadcom to a staggering $1.5 trillion market cap, placing them right behind the household names of big tech. The architect of this empire is CEO Hock Tan. He started by leading a minor Hewlett-Packard semiconductor spinoff called Avago. Tan executed a precise $100 billion acquisition spree. He systematically absorbed major players like LSI, Symantec, and eventually Broadcom Corporation itself, adopting its name along the way. By buying up these critical pieces of digital infrastructure, an under-the-radar parts supplier became the 12th company in global history to cross the trillion-dollar mark. Everyone knows NVIDIA designs the famous AI GPUs, but those graphic processing units are effectively useless if they can't talk to each other. They require high-speed networking switches to move massive amounts of data across server farms. That's where Broadcom steps in. They build custom AI silicon, often called XPUs, which are specialized processors designed specifically to accelerate artificial intelligence workloads. Alongside their high-performance Tomahawk networking chips, these components form the essential connective tissue of the cloud. This chart breaks down the custom AI chip market. Broadcom holds a commanding 70% share, leaving the remaining 30% fractured among all other competitors combined. Because they own the networking hardware layer, Broadcom doesn't have to build the smartest AI. They just collect rent on the physical roads the artificial intelligence boom requires. But hardware manufacturing is notoriously cyclical. To protect against boom and bust cycles, Broadcom built a second engine, high-margin infrastructure software. This strategy culminated in the $69 billion acquisition of VMware, an enterprise virtualization platform that thousands of global companies physically cannot operate without. When Broadcom looked at VMware's books, they saw the Pareto principle in action. Out of over 100,000 accounts, just 3,000 premium customers were generating over 70% of the total revenue. So they executed the Hock Tan playbook. They fired engineers, slashed support teams, eliminated free license options, and effectively abandoned the bottom 80% of VMware's customer base. The remaining top-tier enterprises were caught in a software trap. They had invested years building their internal networks on VMware. Moving to a new system would take too long and cost too much. So when Broadcom switched them to a subscription model and raised prices by as much as 5 times, they had no choice but to pay. By intentionally discarding the majority of its users, Broadcom instantly shed massive support overhead and created a captive, hyper-profitable monopoly from the clients who couldn't leave. This chart shows Broadcom's free cash flow. Since 2016, their hardware and software engines scaled up, generating an elite $24.9 billion over the trailing 12 months. That cash generation translates directly into shareholder payouts, driving a 35% compound annual dividend growth rate. But building this machine required immense borrowing. Broadcom currently carries a massive mountain of corporate debt, totaling $64.2 billion. To service those obligations, the company must maintain its rigorous cash extraction. If enterprise IT spending drops or the artificial intelligence build-out slows down, that heavy leverage becomes a serious structural risk. Investors in the semiconductor space today face a clear choice: buy NVIDIA as a high-risk, pure-play growth stock, or Broadcom for a diversified, high-yield alternative. The market recognizes the strength of Broadcom's strategy, rewarding the company with a premium valuation that trades near 50 times forward earnings. They design the custom physical silicon that routes data through the world's largest server farms, and they own the virtual software environments that run corporate infrastructure. It doesn't matter which tech giant wins the AI race. Broadcom is positioned to collect a toll on every byte of data crossing the internet.